There are nights that vanish from memory, nights that change nothing, and yet, everything. September 26, 1983. A quiet, ordinary evening in the Soviet Union. No explosions, no headlines, no panic. And yet, that night, the world came closer to ending than ever before. And almost no one knew. Beat of silence, faint sound of a radar ping. This is the story of how one decision, made by one man, standing alone in a dark control room, saved the entire world. The year is 1983. The Cold War is at its freezing point. The United States and the Soviet Union have built enough nuclear weapons to erase humanity 100 times over. Tensions are higher than ever. NATO is conducting Able Archer, a massive military exercise that looks disturbingly real. Both sides believe the other could strike first. Both sides are watching the skies, the seas, the silence between the radio waves. It's a world balanced on a knife's edge, and every radar ping, every blinking light, could be the spark that ends civilization. At a secret Soviet early warning bunker called Serpukhov 15, a lieutenant colonel named Stanislav Petrov takes his seat for the night shift. He is not a politician, not a general, just a man trained to follow orders. His job: monitor the satellites watching the skies over the United States. If they detect nuclear missiles, he must report immediately. Moscow would then respond with a full-scale nuclear retaliation. That was the system. That was the plan. But that night, the plan almost destroyed us all. Now the screen shows 5 intercontinental ballistic missiles heading toward the Soviet Union. 5 missiles. Enough to trigger an automatic counterstrike, a response that would unleash thousands. Petrov's hands tremble. His officers look to him, terrified. He has only minutes to decide. If he's wrong, and the missiles are real, millions of Soviet citizens will die. If he's right, and he reports a false alarm, humanity might survive. In that moment, the world's fate depended on a single human heartbeat. Petrov's training says, report it. Launch response. His instinct says, wait. He stares at the screen. 5 bright dots moving across a black void. But he can't see any radar confirmation. The ground system's silent. He remembers something his instructors once told him. Never trust the system completely. It wasn't an American attack. It was sunlight, reflecting off high-altitude clouds over North Dakota, fooling Soviet satellites into seeing what wasn't there. The system did exactly what it was built to do. Only a human being, one skeptical mind, saved the world from its own machines. Soft piano notes. Petrov never saw himself as a hero. He was reprimanded for not following protocol. His superiors were embarrassed. For years, the story remained classified, a secret buried beneath the Cold War's silence. While Petrov sat in that dark bunker, the rest of the world slept peacefully. Children dreamed. Lovers whispered. Cities glowed under electric lights. No one knew how close they were to becoming shadows in a flash of light. Long pause. In the morning, newspapers printed the same old headlines. Markets opened. Flights departed. History moved on, as if nothing had happened. But history almost ended. The world we built was designed for destruction. We created systems that removed doubt, emotion, hesitation, and called it progress. But that night, it wasn't progress that saved us. It was doubt. It was hesitation. It was the fragile, human choice to question the machine. Stanislav Petrov broke the rules, and in doing so, preserved everything the rules were meant to protect. Every day, we place our faith in systems we don't fully understand. Algorithms decide what we see. Machines drive us, fly us, feed us information. But one truth never changes. The human mind, capable of fear, doubt, and compassion, remains the last defense against catastrophe. Petrov's story is not just about the Cold War. It's about all of us. How close we live to disaster. How fragile the balance truly is. And how one calm voice, in a storm of panic, can keep the world alive. If you're watching this, it means humanity survived the night it wasn't supposed to. The night we almost became a memory in the silence of the universe. Stanislav Petrov passed away quietly in 2017. No medals. No monuments. Just an old man in a small Russian apartment. And a story the world almost forgot. But every second you breathe, every sunrise you see, exists because one man in one moment refused to press a button. By the autumn of 1983, the Cold War reaches a dangerous peak. The United States conducts massive NATO exercises under the codename Able Archer 83, simulating nuclear deployment in Europe. To Soviet intelligence, the drills look disturbingly real, possibly the cover for an actual strike. Inside the Kremlin, paranoia deepens. KGB reports warn that Washington might be preparing a decapitation attack. Missile crews are placed on alert. Every radar officer is told, if the enemy launches, you will know first, and you will respond instantly. Outside, the world sleeps. In Moscow, lights flicker out one by one. In New York, city towers blaze against the night, oblivious. In the grasslands of Kansas, nuclear silos rest under frozen soil, each holding 10 times the power of Hiroshima. In classrooms, children have practiced duck and cover drills so often they no longer ask why. Historians will later call this the most perilous era of the nuclear age. Yet at that moment, no one imagines that the line between life and death runs through one man's hands. Serpukhov 15 is a cathedral of technology. Rows of consoles stretch into the dark. Every few seconds, printers click out coded telemetry. The air smells of metal and coffee. Operators speak in brief commands, their voices steady by habit, not peace. Petrov signs into the duty log. He checks the status of each satellite, 8 eyes orbiting above, watching for heat signatures over the United States. Outside the bunker, autumn rain drums softly on the concrete dome. Inside, time moves differently, measured in blips and warnings. Since childhood, Petrov has known war stories. Cities turned to ash, soldiers who never came home. He believes that machines, unlike humans, cannot feel fear, and that is precisely what makes them dangerous. The system doesn't know panic. It only knows patterns. But human beings? They are full of doubts, and sometimes that is what saves them. As he studies the glowing green lines of data, Petrov can feel the weight of the Cold War pressing down, not in ideology but in responsibility. He has no room for mistakes. A false alarm means retaliation. Hesitation could mean annihilation. It's 12:15 a.m. Petrov checks the temperature readouts of satellite Cosmos 1382. Everything looks normal. He rubs his eyes, noting in his logbook the phrase, "All systems stable." A cup of black tea cools beside the keyboard. Somewhere behind him, an officer hums a low tune, nervous habit in an airless room. Outside, in the forests around the base, night insects trill. The Earth continues its rotation, unaware that its fate is about to hinge on a flicker of light 36,000 kilometers above. This is the end of story. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye. Waving hand.